Well, thank you, Fanchurch, for that ear-splitting welcome to the Rail 200 celebration year, and welcome to the 2025 Bluebell Railway Year in Review. The first clip was from a very damp January 1st, when locomotives whistled up from across the country to celebrate the start of Rail 200, the year 2025 being the 200th anniversary of the opening of the Stockton to Darlington Railway. In February, we saw the reopening of Sharpthorne Tunnel after it was relaid over the winter, with number 65 and number 72 operating services over the school half-term. It was lovely to see steam return to Sharpthorne after the winter break. In early March, we got an unusual scene with E6040 standing in for failed terrier number 72 Fenchurch. At Birch Farm Crossing, E6040, the Bluebell Railway, takes the vintage stock of Metropolitan coaches back south towards Sheffield Park. Reverting to its earlier date, the Branchline gala saw two visiting locomotives, Ivatt 2 number 41313 from the Isle of Wight Steam Railway and Austerity 68067 from the Great Central. Unfortunately, an issue was found in 68067 and she was replaced by Home Fleet locomotive number 34059, Sir Archibald Sinclair. Just after the Branchline gala, new build Atlantic H2 Beachy Head was booked for a photographic charter. She is seen here in the capable hands of Reuben Smith at Town Farm Bridge, and in the next clip, Andy Kelly at Three Arch Bridge, on what was a fantastic day for photography. This year was my first year lineside, and it has opened up the railway to some fantastic new locations. Seen here in April, number 34059 Sir Archibald Sinclair glides around the curve at Lindfield Wood with a regular passenger service. April also saw the return of number 73082 Camelot from her winter maintenance, complete with newly painted smokebox door as she passes the camera at the old West Hoveley station site. Skipping ahead to May now, and a special mainline visitor graced the railway. Standard 7, number 70,000 Britannia. At Birch Farm Crossing, just south of Kingscote, she hauls the special wedding train onto Bluebell Metals. A few days later, she would haul a mainline tour for the happy couple around Kent. Another mainline visitor, and again in May, saw the Hastings Unit venture from her base in Hastings to the Bluebell Railway for one of her tours. This wonderful diesel-electric multiple unit would return with a forecast set in June to assist with the summer running, before departing in September after the diesel gala. a visitor who has become part of the railway returned after a period of absence. In the prior clip of number 6989, Whittick Hall, we saw her undertaking a test run before briefly returning to service over the weekend. This locomotive was destined for the halls of fame as the Hogwarts Express. In this next clip we see 01 class number 65 in concert with other steam traction engines at the High Wheeled Steam Rally for this hugely successful first running of the event at Freshfield Farm. The always popular model railway weekend saw number 72 Fenchurch operate in concert with the London North Western Railway's observation carriage, or OBO. Due to Fenchurch's small nature, it has often looked like the OBO had become self-propelled, especially in this second scene as it approaches Horsted Keynes. A scene that makes you wonder why you go out to film. Number 80151 hauls the goods Sept past Horsted House Farm crossing. The return shot was due to be at Tremains. However, due to inclement weather, thunderstorms and driving rain, I had to stand and watch the return service rather than filming. Both camera and cameraman were well and truly drenched. Over the course of a week in late July, the Inspiration train touring the country to introduce young people to the history of the railways on its 200th year came to the Bluebell Railway. The first weekend saw Class 66, number 66710, run passenger services for people to enjoy a ride on a modern diesel freight locomotive. In a year of many visitors to the railway, Class 33 diesel number 33108, on loan from the Severn Valley Railway, hauls an empty coaching stock movement at Hill Place Farm, just south of East Grinstead. The locomotive was being used as part of school visits to the Bluebell to educate about Rail 200 and the history of train travel. The curve at Halstead House Farm Bridge is our next stop during a very changeable summer's day outing at the Southern at War event. Number 34059, Sir Archibald Sinclair, climbs out of Halstead Thames towards Grinstead with the first service of the day. Skipping ahead a month to August, and in this first scene we see number 73082 Camelot sporting her 70th anniversary headboard on the celebration of Bluebell Railway's 65th anniversary gala. Number 73082, built in Derby in 1955, unfortunately couldn't operate on her birthday due to a defective superheater. Therefore, the 65th anniversary weekend was for me a celebration of both the railway and, of course, my favourite locomotive. The highlight of the Bluebell 65th weekend came at the end of the weekend's festivities on the Sunday, with a rather tasty 7 locomotive cavalcade. This was led by the newly built HG Ivatt at Beachy Head, in consort with Sir Archibald Sinclair, number 65, number 23108, and a pair who all recently put together, number 80151 and number 72 Fenchurch. Enjoy this superb event as 7 locomotives pass the camera. Cavalcade to a convoy as number 50008 Thunderer leads number 47715, and before that unit, Petit, as all three were slated to run over the now annual diesel gala. Unfortunately, earlier on in the year, Gordon Petit had sadly passed, so this gala was an excellent way for the railway to celebrate its president's life with the unit named after him. With the old Kingscote signal box on the left-hand side of the shot, visiting Class 25, number 25262, on loan from the South Devon Railway, passes the camera on the start of the 1 in 122 gradient climb up towards Birch Farm Crossing. On a tour of line-side locations for the following weekend's Giants of Steam, number 65 is seen at the freshly cut back Waterworks as she hauls the second part of the Pullman lunchtime dining special. The theme of this year's Giants of Steam was new build locomotives, and from this we were treated to visiting locomotives number 6880 Betton Grange, number 2999 Lady of Legend, and number 60163 Tornado, starring alongside the Bluebell Railway's very own new build locomotive, number 32424 Beachy Head. In this first of 4 clips, we see number 6880 Betton Grange power under-hoisted House Farm Bridge, with the morning service on the Saturday, showcasing Great Western 460 power. Tornado is the oldest of the new builds, having been brought into service in 2008. She had made the trip all the way from Darlington via the main line, arriving on Wednesday evening in darkness. Tornado is the only mainline certified locomotive of the 4 running over the weekend, and showcased this with some fantastic performances. On her first run of Giants Weekend, she is seen here at Freshfield Bank as she heads north towards Horsted Canes. The majestic sight of Three Arch Bridge, or Nobles Bridge, frames this shot for the other new build Great Western 460, Lady of Legend, a Saint class locomotive. As with Betton, none of the Saints survived into preservation, and like Betton Grange, she comes from parts of a hall. But there are surviving elements of the Saint class, with a connecting rod and whistle from long scrapped Saint class members. One of the events of 2024 was Elstoke Manor and Whittick Hall double-heading over Branchline Gala, and with the announcement of Betton and Lady, it had been hoped that these two Great Western 460s would attempt to rival their fellow Great Western 460s for noise. Here, at an increasingly damp Halstead House Farm Bridge, with Lady of Legend leading, both 460s blast past the camera on what was the run of the weekend. Moving along another weekend, and another Great Western 460 needed the limelight. This in the form of Great Western 460 Whittick Hall. Seen previously in this feature, she has now been outshot in Hogwarts Red, as number 6989 is becoming a film star, having been cast as Hogwarts Express in the upcoming Harry Potter TV series. She is seen here on Autumn Day in late October, as she passes Halstead House Farm Crossing. A new feature for this year's Bluebell Railway events calendar saw number 73082 Camelot become the Spooktacular Express, with a rather scary skull attached to the front of the locomotive. As you can see in this shot, it even comes complete with pyrotechnics. We enjoy this spooky spectacle at the Mound, looking towards Three Arch Bridge as the locomotive approaches Halstead Keynes Station. Sticking with the theme of night shots, we enjoy the now annual across many preserved railways Steamlights event. Again, number 73082 Camelot has the honour of hauling this year's event, and with driver Ruben Smith at the regulator, we see the wonderful chime whistle in action as the locomotive climbs a multicoloured Freshfield Bank. Returning in daylight to Freshfield Bank, and with resident sheep grazing away on a peaceful late autumn morning, we see number 73082 Camelot haul the now well entrenched in the railway's calendar Santa Specials. This final shot sees standard 4 locomotive number 80151 on the Santa Specials at Waterworks. Thank you all for watching this year's Bluebell Railway Year in Review for 2025, and thank you all for your support in 2025 as well. Hope to see you all lineside some point next year.